The chamber was cold, sterile, yet alive with a tension so thick it might as well have been a physical force. At the heart of the alien observation center, deep beneath the crimson sands of what once was their homeworld, the Council gathered. Around a vast, translucent screen, pulsing with the flickering image of Earth's orbit. 500,000 years ago, they had left this blue planet behind, certain their dominion over the galaxy was assured, their legacy eternal. Now, returning to reclaim what they deemed theirs by right and blood, they were met with something they hadn't expected. The screen zoomed in sharply on a colossal city, once human, now transformed beyond recognition. Its skyline jagged with towering fortresses of gleaming black alloy, weapons emplacements glinting like teeth. From orbit, something streaked downward. A flare, a missile, a burst of blue plasma. It detonated in space mere kilometers from their flagship, shattering sensors and knocking out communications in a sharp, crackling pulse. Unidentified human weapon impact, hissed the tactical officer, his many eyes wide with disbelief. EM pulse? Cloaking disruption? Their tech? It should be primitive yet impossible, whispered High Chieftain Volk, voice trembling. They should be weaker. We mastered the void millennia ago, yet they survive. They fight. A sudden alert blared. Incoming assault drones, rapid approach vector, releasing nanite swarms. The holographic display swarmed with shimmering tiny silver dots converging on their hull. Volk's mandibles quivered in a rare show of fear. They remember. They waited. But why? We are gods to lesser life. On Earth, beneath layers of dirt and concrete, Commander Lyssa crouched behind a scorched vehicle wreck. Her breath was steady, but her fingers shook as she keyed her comm. "They're coming," she whispered, eyes burning with a fierce resolve. "They think they can take back a world they abandoned." Her squad was silent, waiting for the signal, the countdown Lyssa had set in motion months ago. The final phase of humanity's most secret defense protocol, Phoenix. On the command terminal, a timer blinked down from 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8. Around her, soldiers braced in shadow, clutching weapons forged from salvaged. Tech and new experimental alloys, gravity grenades, EMP rounds, nanobot injectors, tools of a war not just fought with guns, but with unseen forces. 7, 6. Lyssa's mind flickered briefly to the ancient history lessons, the stories of alien gods and betrayals. 5. A crackling silence followed as the comm channel dropped out. 4, 3. Her squad waited, breath caught in throats, hearts pounding like drums of war. 2, 1. A single phrase cut through the dark like a blade. They will learn to fear fire again. Their silence shattered. Below and above, the battle for Earth had begun, and this time humanity would burn their invaders to ash. The sky cracked open. With a roar, unlike any thunder humanity had ever known, Lyssa's squad surged forward from the shadows, their boots pounding the scorched earth as the first missiles streaked overhead. The aliens' fleet, sleek, iridescent, and ominously silent until now, hung like dark jewels against the broken horizon, deploying mechanized soldiers and drones in cascading waves. "Deploy gravity nets," Lyssa ordered, voice sharp, cutting. Through static and panic, small devices hissed as they activated, rippling space around the descending drones. The nets weren't strong enough to stop a ship, but enough to tangle smaller attackers, buying precious seconds. A sudden explosion ripped through the air, throwing dust and debris into the twilight. High above, the flagship's hull shimmered with an alien shield, but it flickered under relentless waves of EMP blasts, silent pulses that spread from hidden launchers in the city's ruins. The shields faltered, and for a heartbeat, the monstrous ship seemed vulnerable. In the chaos, Dr. Enric, Earth's lead xenobiologist, clutched a portable holo tablet, his face pale under the flickering red light of battle. They're confused. Their biometrics, stress levels spike. They didn't expect resistance like this. Lissa glanced at him, eyes narrowed. We're more than survival instinct now. We've evolved in the fire of extinction. We're there. Reckoning. A swarm of nanites veered toward Enric's position, shimmering like a living storm. He barely dodged as the microscopic machines attempted to latch onto his armor, their purpose unknown, but undoubtedly deadly. Nanites! Countermeasures deployed, Enric shouted, releasing a burst of nanobot disruptors from his wrist. The swarm flickered, then dissipated into harmless sparks. Far above, Volk's council was unraveling. The High Chieftain's voice cracked as he barked orders, desperate to regroup. Seal the breaches, target their leaders. We underestimated the humans, curse their fire. But the fire wasn't just weapons or explosions, it was something deeper, a furious will, raw and unyielding. Something the aliens hadn't seen in their countless conquests. Lissa moved through the battlefield like a tempest, rallying her soldiers as they carved a path through alien automatons and drones. She remembered the legends whispered in the old archives, the myth of Earth as a death world, a crucible where only the fiercest survived. This is why we fight, she muttered, voice fierce. Not for conquest, for survival, for vengeance. A sudden tremor shook the ground as a massive alien mech lumbered into view, towering over her squad with limbs like cold steel trees. The creature's eyes glowed with eerie bioluminescence. Scanning for targets. Hold positions. EMP rounds. Fire at will, Lissa commanded. The air buzzed with energy as pulsing charges ripped through the mech's joints, forcing it to stagger. In that moment, a sickening realization struck Enric. They're learning from us, adapting on the fly. The nanites, their own tech, reversed. Against us. Lissa clenched her jaw. Good. Let them learn the cost of returning. The war for Earth had only just begun, and beneath every blast and shadowed corner, a silent question burned. Why had the aliens come back after 500,000 years? And what price would humanity demand for their betrayal? The alien flagship shuddered under the relentless assault, its iridescent hull scarred by pulses of electromagnetic fury. Volk staggered in the command chamber, his many eyes wide with mounting terror as systems flickered and alarms screamed a chorus of chaos. How can this be? They wield the void itself against us, yet they are but mortals. His second in command, a smaller, jittery creature named Thraxil, hissed, High Chieftain, their technology blends ancient and advanced. Gravity manipulation, nanotech countermeasures, electromagnetic disruption. Their adaptations defy our predictions. Volk's mandibles twitched nervously. Our ancestors left Earth 500,000 years ago, deeming it a primitive relic. We thought it dormant, forgotten. But they have grown wild, feral, and dangerous. Down below, Commander Lissa moved through the ruins of what once was a grand city, now a fortress carved into the bedrock of Earth's dead zones. Her suit's HUD flickered warnings of residual radiation and lingering nanite swarms. Her breath came steady, her mind sharp despite the gnawing exhaustion. Recon report, multiple alien ground units deployed, heading for the southern sector. They seek to breach our last power grid, her comm crackled. We'll stop them, Lissa said, voice low but unwavering. This planet is ours now. They abandoned it, left us to rot. Now, they pay. As her squad advanced, a strange silence fell, a momentary lull in the battle. The sky darkened, clouds swirling unnaturally as if the very atmosphere was holding its breath. Lissa raised her rifle, eyes scanning the horizon. From the distance, a faint hum grew into a roar, and then a cascade of light, a fleet of human ships, long hidden in deep space, now returning like ghosts from the void. Enric's voice came through the comm, tinged with awe. They call them the Ghost Fleet, cloaked, fast, armed with experimental quantum disruptors. Our last hope. The aliens. On the ground froze, sensing the shift. Volk growled into his comm. Recall all units, prepare for evacuation. But the humans were already advancing, their weapons blazing with the cold fury of survival forged over millennia. Lissa whispered to herself, "They came back after 500,000 years." But Earth's fire never died. The war was far from over. It had only just become personal. Enemy mech units surged like dark phantoms through the shattered ruins, their heavy steps shaking the cracked earth beneath Lissa's squad. Each metallic footfall echoed a promise of destruction. But the soldiers moved with lethal precision, weaving through debris and shadow. Switch to plasma disruptors, take down their joint servos. Lissa barked, eyes locked on the advancing behemoth towering above them. Sergeant Keel, a burly soldier with a cybernetic arm, lobbed a glowing orb that detonated against the mech's knee. The servo seized and groaned, but the machine roared, back, swinging an enormous arm that smashed a nearby wall to rubble. "Get behind cover!" Lissa ordered, ducking behind a crumbling pillar. The battlefield was a storm of noise and light. Above, alien drones whirred, releasing swarms of nanites that slithered like living wires toward human armor. Endrick's squad deployed pulse emitters that dissolved the swarm in sizzling arcs, but every victory felt razor-thin. "Why are they like this?" Endrick muttered over comm, voice tinged with exhaustion. "Their ferocity. It's beyond instinct. It's vengeance." "Because we survived the fire they thought would burn us out," Lissa replied, scanning the horizon for the next threat. "Because they left us to die, but we grew stronger." A sudden screech pierced the air. A cloaked alien skimmer dropped silently behind the lines, sleek and deadly. Lissa spotted it too late. "Ambush!" she yelled, raising her rifle. But before she could fire, the skimmer's pilot spoke in a chilling, broken voice, human-accented but warped by alien technology. "You don't understand. We came to reclaim, not to destroy." Lissa narrowed her eyes. "You left us to rot for 500,000 years. Now you ask for mercy?" The skimmer vanished again, cloaking with a shimmer, leaving only a bitter promise in the air. "This war is not over. We will not be erased." Lissa clenched her jaw as the firefight resumed around her. The ghosts of betrayal haunted every shot fired, every life lost. And still, Earth burned, unbroken, unforgiving, and ready to fight till the last ember. The alien flagship's bridge trembled with mounting panic. Volk's many eyes darted across failing systems as the hull integrity dropped dangerously low. "Contain the breaches! Activate the temporal phase disruptors now!" he roared, desperation thick in his voice. Thraxil's claws flew over the yell console, but the disruptors hummed weakly. "They've jammed our signals with quantum interference. Our tech is unraveling like thread." Volk's mandibles clicked harshly. "They've become something else, not merely survivors, predators." Far below, in Earth's underground command center, Enric hunched over a holomap, tracing the swarming enemy movements. His voice cracked with urgency. "Lissa, their mechs are recalibrating, learning from our EMP patterns. We're caught in a feedback loop." Lissa's hands tightened around her rifle. "Then we change the rules, deploy the gravitic mines, use the terrain, make them bleed." Outside, the battlefield shifted. Alien mechs moved cautiously, slower now, wary of unseen traps. Human forces exploited every shadow, every fractured street. Suddenly, a pulse detonated beneath a towering mech, ripping through its core servos. Sparks showered as it crashed with a deafening roar. Amid the chaos, Lissa locked eyes with a captured alien soldier, trembling and cornered. "Why come back after 500,000 years?" she demanded, voice low but fierce. The alien's voice was broken, haunted. "Because we believed you were weak. Because we thought Earth was empty, but you were wrong." Lissa finished, voice cold steel. The alien's gaze faltered, a flicker of fear and awe. Around them, the war raged. Humanity's fire refusing to die, their will unbreakable. The past was a ghost, the future was a battlefield. And Earth's vengeance had only just begun. The air was thick with smoke and the scent of ozone as Lissa's squad pressed forward, their footsteps echoing against the hollowed ruins of a once glorious city. Each building around them bore scars of ancient wars, cracks like open wounds in the stone, silent witnesses to Earth's brutal history. "Eyes up!" Lissa snapped, as a ripple in the air betrayed the approach of an alien sniper, cloaked by advanced adaptive camo. A pulse from her rifle's targeting system illuminated the shimmering outline. "Got you!" The sniper vanished, replaced by a burst of plasma that scorched the earth nearby. The squad dove for cover as the battle's tempo quickened, a deadly dance of light and shadow. Enric's voice crackled over the comm, his tone urgent. "They're deploying bioengineered predators, genetically spliced for speed and lethality. They call them silent hunters." Lissa's pulse quickened. "Great, just what we needed." She scanned the ruined alleyways, eyes sharp for movement. Suddenly, a snarling beast lunged from the darkness, its sinewy form pulsating with unnatural energy. Sergeant Keel met it head-on, plasma blade flashing in a deadly arc. The creature collapsed with a guttural howl. "They're using Earth's own cruelty against us," Enric muttered. "They weaponize the very nightmares of our planet." Lissa's jaw tightened. "Then we fight fire with fire." She activated her suit's experimental nano-shield, shimmering like liquid glass. Around her, her squad readied their weapons, the hum of gravitic charges and EMP grenades filling the tense silence. From orbit, the alien flagship flickered, a last bastion of hope, now trembling on the edge of collapse. Volk's voice was a broken whisper. "How do mortals wield such fury?" The answer echoed through the war-torn streets, a defiant roar against the dark. Humanity would never surrender. Not after being abandoned, not after centuries of fire. And this time, when the aliens returned, Earth was ready to burn brighter than ever before. Under the bruised sky, the battlefield twisted and roared with relentless violence. Commander Lissa's breath was steady, though every muscle ached and every nerve screamed with the exhaustion of war. Around her, the ruins of what had once been a sprawling city lay shattered, a labyrinth of broken concrete, scorched metal, and shattered glass that bore silent witness to centuries of conflict. The air crackled with static and the sharp tang of ionized particles. Above, alien warships hung like dark sentinels, their hulls shimmering with an eerie iridescence as they hovered in orbit. From these ships, dropships unleashed waves of mechanized soldiers, sleek, towering constructs that moved with unnerving precision and speed. Lissa crouched behind the twisted wreckage of an ancient statue, her HUD flickering warnings as sensors picked up multiple hostile targets advancing through the haze. The ground trembled under the pounding footsteps of massive alien mechs, their bioluminescent eyes scanning the rubble-strewn streets. "Gravnets, deploy!" Lissa ordered sharply. Small canisters hissed as they activated, releasing invisible fields that distorted gravity within their radius. Several smaller drones faltered mid-air, tangled and disabled by the sudden shift. "EMP pulses ready," Sergeant Keel reported, his cybernetic arm gleaming faintly in the dim light. "Awaiting your command." Lissa nodded, her gaze fixed on a towering mech lurching forward, its massive limbs tearing through barricades as if they were paper. The creature's movements were fluid, yet brutal. A nightmare made of metal and alien sinew. "Now," she commanded. Electric blue arcs of energy surged through the air as the EMP grenades detonated near the mech's joints. Sparks erupted, and the machine faltered, its limbs locking briefly before the hydraulic systems screamed in protest. But it recovered quickly, adapting to the disruption with terrifying speed. "They're learning," Enric's voice crackled. Through the comm, breath ragged. The lead scientist was huddled in a makeshift bunker, poring over streaming data on a holo display. Their nanites are rewiring their mech circuitry in real time, turning our countermeasures into vulnerabilities. We're locked in a deadly feedback loop. Lissa's eyes narrowed. Then we force them to break the cycle, spread out, use the terrain, set traps. A sudden screech echoed through the ruins as a cloaked alien skimmer dropped silently into the battlefield, its sleek form barely visible against the smoke and dust. Lissa spotted it just in time, adaptive camouflage shimmering faintly under her suit's sensors. "Ambush!" she shouted. The skimmer's pilot, a gaunt figure with skin mottled in strange patterns, spoke over a warped comm channel. His voice was a chilling blend of alien cadence and human accent. "We seek parley. Your fight is doomed," Lissa spat back without hesitation. "You left us to die for 500,000 years. Now you want peace? Too late." The skimmer vanished again in a ripple of refracted light, leaving behind only the bitter promise of a war that would not end until one side was utterly destroyed. Far above, aboard the alien flagship, High Chieftain Volk's many eyes burned with a mixture of fury and disbelief. The bridge was a maelstrom of alarms and frantic activity. Holographic displays showed critical damage, breaches spreading like veins of corrosion across the once pristine hull. "Contain the breaches!" Volk barked, mandibles clicking rapidly. "Activate the temporal phase disruptors. If we lose the flagship, this campaign is lost." Thraxil, his jittery second-in-command, worked feverishly at the controls. "Their quantum interference jams our signals, disrupts our phase fields, our tech unravels." Volk's voice dropped to a growl. "They have become something else, not mere primitives, but predators." The centuries of arrogance shattered in a single brutal moment. The humans had transformed Earth into a fortress, a crucible that forged savage willpower and cunning far beyond what the aliens had ever anticipated. Back on the ground, Lissa's squad pressed forward, shadows among shadows. The ruins were a maze of jagged walls and crumbled towers, each step bringing new dangers. "Silent hunters," Enric warned over the comm, voice tense. "Bioengineered predators, genetically enhanced for speed and lethality. They hunt with instinct and calculation." From the gloom, a sinewy beast burst forth, its eyes glowing with unnatural light, muscles rippling beneath mottled, armored skin. Sergeant Keel met it head-on, plasma blade flashing in a deadly arc. The creature's howl echoed, a raw, feral sound that stirred primal memories deep within the human soldiers. Lissa felt the familiar surge of adrenaline, the fierce determination that had carried humanity through ages of extinction. "They weaponized Earth's nightmares against us," she muttered. "Then we fight fire with fire." Activating her nanoshield, she moved through the chaos, a shimmering blur of light and motion. Around her, her soldiers deployed gravitic mines and EMP charges, turning the ruins into a deadly gauntlet. The battlefield was a tapestry of violence, woven with the blood and steel of two civilizations locked in a desperate dance. Each victory was hard-won, each step forward stained with sacrifice. In the dim glow of twilight, Lissa caught a glimpse of the enemy's commander, an alien figure commanding the battlefield with cold precision. Their eyes met across the divide, a silent exchange of hatred and understanding. "We will not be erased," Lissa vowed under her breath. "Not today, not ever." Deep beneath the surface, Enric continued to analyze data streaming from battlefield sensors. His mind raced to unravel the mystery of humanity's resilience. "Why are they like this?" he whispered, almost to himself. "Why does their fire burn so fiercely after being abandoned for so long?" The answer was written in every scar, every desperate stand. Humanity's will to survive was more than biology. It was a legacy of betrayal, a rage born from millennia of abandonment and hardship. They had been forged in the crucible of extinction and rebirth, and now that fire had become a weapon sharper than any alien technology. As night fell, the battlefield quieted only briefly. The stars above gleamed cold and distant, indifferent, witnesses to the brutal struggle below. Lissa stood atop a shattered rooftop, gazing toward the distant glow of the alien flagship. Its lights flickered like dying embers, but still it loomed, a monstrous testament to the invaders' hubris. Her comm buzzed softly. Enric's voice came through, steady but weary. "We've managed to disable the primary energy conduit. They'll be vulnerable if we can hold them." "We will," Lissa replied, voice hard as steel. "For Earth, for every life they tried to erase." The war was far from over, but in the hearts of humanity, a fierce light blazed, unyielding, unbroken, and ready to burn brighter than ever before. And when the aliens returned after 500,000 years, they found a world transformed, a world met, not with surrender, but with fire. The dawn was a faint bruise on the horizon when the human forces regrouped in the shadow of the shattered city's remnants. Lissa wiped the grime from her visor, her gaze sharp, despite the weariness pressing against her bones. Around her, soldiers checked their gear, reloading weapons and tending wounds, the silence heavy with exhaustion and resolve. Enric joined her, his face pale but determined, holo display flickering with streams of alien data and battlefield scans. "They're reorganizing. The flagship's shield is faltering, but their ground forces are adapting faster than we anticipated," Lissa nodded, her jaw tight. "Then we hit them harder. Use the nanite disruptors to scramble their mech networks. If we can fracture their coordination, we gain the upper hand." "Agreed," Enric said, tapping furiously. "I've developed an experimental pulse that targets their neural interfaces. It's risky, but it might disable their control systems, temporarily at least." "Risky is our new standard," Lissa muttered. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the smoky sky, the ground trembled again, this time from the distant roar of engines. From the rubble-strewn horizon, a new wave of human reinforcements emerged. Rugged, battle-hardened pilots in stealth fighters, sleek ground vehicles bristling with gravitic cannons, and soldiers wielding prototype weapons forged in secret. The battlefield surged with renewed energy. Lissa's squad moved out, hearts steeled and minds focused. They were no longer just defending. They were hunting. A massive alien mech emerged from the haze, its limbs dripping with alien energy. It strode toward them with terrifying intent, its eyes blazing with cold calculation. "Pulse ready," Enric's voice crackled over the comm. "On your mark. Fire!" Lissa shouted. A wave of quantum disruption surged through the air, rippling like invisible shockwaves. The mech's systems flickered violently, its movements jerking erratically as its neural links short-circuited. The beast crashed to the ground with a thunderous impact, sparks flying from shattered circuits. Victory was a blade edged with sacrifice. Every advance paid in blood and broken dreams. Yet in that moment, a fierce hope ignited. "We reclaim what was lost," Lissa said, voice ringing through the chaos. "We are the fire they forgot." From orbit, the alien flagship's hull fractured, its lights dimming as systems failed. Bulk's last transmission was a guttural hiss of disbelief and fury. Earth was no longer a forgotten relic. It was a crucible, a fortress, a storm, and humanity was the firestorm, burning brighter than the stars. The alien flagship groaned like a wounded beast, the final sparks of its once majestic hull flickering against the void. High Chieftain Valk's many eyes scanned the failing systems, desperation thick in his mandibles as he barked commands that went unanswered. Around him, his elite guards struggled to maintain order, but the power had shifted irreversibly. "Prepare. Evacuation protocols," Valk snarled. "We retreat, regroup, live to fight another day." But even as the order was given, the flagship's gravitic stabilizers failed. The great vessel tilted uncontrollably, lurching toward the planet like a dying star falling from the heavens. Below, the battlefield was a symphony of fire and shadow. Commander Lissa stood atop the rubble of an ancient government building, her armor scorched and battered, but her spirit unyielding. Around her, the remnants of her squad moved with quiet determination, eyes scanning the horizon for the final assault. Enric's voice came steady over the comm. "The flagship's falling. This is our moment," Lissa nodded, her gaze locking on the descending dropships. From their hulls spilled the last waves of alien troops, desperate, disorganized, and terrified. "They thought us weak," she whispered. "They thought Earth was a graveyard." The human forces surged forward like wildfire, their weapons blazing with fury born of centuries of betrayal and survival. The alien soldiers fought with the ferocity of cornered beasts, but it was futile. The nanite disruptors corroded their armor systems. Gravitic mines shredded their ranks. Each step they took was met with cold precision and ruthless resolve. Among the chaos, Lissa encountered a young alien warrior, trembling and disarmed, eyes wide with fear and disbelief. The silence between them was a chasm, history and hatred writ large. "Why return?" Lissa demanded, voice harsh but not without a trace of sorrow. The alien's voice was fragile, raw with pain. "We thought you forgotten. We thought Earth was dead. We were wrong." "Then you should have left us alone." The flagship's crash was a thunderclap that shook the planet, its burning wreckage a smoldering testament to hubris. Survivors on both sides watched in silence as the sky rained fire and ash. In the aftermath, the galaxy would come to learn a painful truth. Humanity was no lost world. It was a crucible of fire, forged through betrayal and hardship, rising to challenge the stars themselves. Days later, as Earth's battered survivors tended wounds and rebuilt shattered lives, Lissa stood beneath a twilight sky streaked with the first human ships returning from the deep silence of space. The stars, once distant and cold, now felt closer, illuminated by a fierce, unbreakable light. Enric approached quietly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "They underestimated us. They never understood the fire that burns in humanity's heart." Lissa's eyes shone with hard-won hope. "We're not just survivors anymore. We're the reckoning." Above them, the ruined flagship smoldered, a fallen god humbled by the indomitable will of a species that refused to be erased. And Earth, once abandoned and forgotten, now stood as a beacon, proof that even after 500,000 years, the fire of humanity could never be extinguished. The war was over. The story was just beginning.